Hi there, Prairie Plant Girl here. Well, we finally got a little bit of a break in this extra wintry weather that we've been having this fall. So I thought I'd take a minute to clean up my front door look here, give it a refresh. I had tons of squash and pumpkins and actually snapdragons still here that were just buried in snow. So I came out the other day and I pulled that all apart, and actually it was just all ice and everything here, so I just scraped up all the ice and moved everything away, put the pots in my garage so they could thaw out, and let the ice around the door melt so I could clean it up just a little bit better. And now we've had a few days that have actually hit above freezing, so I've got the pots are all thawed out. I've put them back here. Hopefully you can see them kind of in behind me there. And I've picked up a bunch of greenery just to make a more fitting display for the weather we're having. I've gone out to my local garden center and I picked up a couple of bunches of fir. So that's right here. That's the back side of it. Let's see if I can get one turned around for you. So you see they have a really nice variegation. So the front is very bright green and the back is kind of this icy blue color. I think there's about 6 stems of that, and also some cedar. So another just really nice bright pop of green, and it has kind of deep brown stems. Then I was also out at my parents' farm and I picked up a whole bunch of spruce. So I have some spruce, there's some fresher young blue spruce, and there's some that's a bit more green. And I also grabbed some pine. So the pine is a little bit rough. It actually got broken in one of the big snowstorms, and it was just, Mom had just piled up the broken branches, and I just cut some off of that to use them up. They're pretty nice full branches, which is probably why they broke under the weight of the snow and ice that we had. So hopefully they hold for a while in the winter. These always wind up browning. These and the cedar or arborvitae always brown the soonest, but I just go and cut them out. So I just keep in mind where they are when I'm putting it together so that I can take them out without it being too much of a detriment to the look of the arrangement later on. But I like them because they do add a little bit of a different hue of green and a little different texture, so I do like to add them in when I can. Also mixed in amongst all of this somewhere is a little bit of broken branches from the columnar pine that I had. So I grabbed those and I just threw them. They're in this pile here somewhere as well. And then I have just some branches that I carry over every year. I'm not sure, I think these were a willow. I purchased these couple longer ones, and then I have some red dogwood twigs that I've cut off of my own plants over the years and I just save. So I have those to work with kind of for the main fill. And then over here I have a couple of big bags of pine cones. Some are purchased, some have been collected over the years out at Mom and Dad's farm. I broke down the spruce that I picked up at Mom and Dad's I cut them down. They're huge branches, and I just cut them into kind of large branches, medium branches, and then this is just kind of the little after bits in this box, plus some echinacea seed heads in case I want to use some of those. And then there was a few pine cones laying on the ground when I was done cleaning all that up. And then I grabbed, these are just lanterns. Are actually supposed to be, you're supposed to put like candles and a detractant or deterrent in it. And then they're supposed to be like for keeping mosquitoes away, but I just cleaned them up a little bit, put in a set of battery-powered LED lights and some little mini Christmas balls, and I thought this might be pretty to put in there. I have a shepherd's hook that I thought I'd put one on, and yeah, that's pretty much what I'm working with. So I'm going to have my secateurs in case I need to cut any more stems, and my gloves because a lot of these branches are going to be really sticky. So I thought I'd put one together for you just to kind of see what I'm doing, and then I'll stick the rest together and I'll show you at the end. So I like to start with a few larger branches, kind of stand them up at the back. The soil is not as soft as I thought it would be, so I'm just going to get some warm water to put in here just to soften it up a bit more. So I poured a bit of water in there. That should soften that up a bit. Some of the spruce that I grabbed from the farm was under the snow, probably being tromped on by deer. Some of it has a little bit of dirt in it, but I think it'll be okay here once we get going. So I got those. And then I'm just gonna go, and I don't even really usually poke the rest right into the soil for these the rest of the bottom layer. So just grab a bit more of the fur. Looks like there is some moss or something in this purchased fur. Go like that. And that just builds kind of a base layer, and I'll put a small piece right here. Nice to have a small piece with a bit of color here. There, so that kind of just fills in around the edge, softens the edge of the pot. Put in a couple of these branches. Red. Okay, so now I'm going to grab some of this cedar or arborvitae and fill in with it. So I'm just going to cut some of these bigger branches down. Even though I cut this one, you won't really notice if it's in the back. The other branches coming up. And see how that just gives that other texture there. It just gives it a nice look. So now I'm going to cross these across, and I'll actually poke them in the soil. And I'm going to cut this down as well. Find our bigger piece, stick it across, oops. And I'll stand one up here. So now I'm going to come back in with some of those shorter branches of spruce that I cut from the farm. And stand my lantern in. And I'm just going to put in a few of these large pine cones. So that one's done. And I may come in and pop a ribbon pick or something in the back after, once I have them all in, and see if it needs more, but sometimes more is just more. And I like it pretty simple most of the time. This year I'm really feeling the simple vibes, so I'm going to get the other three done and then I'll show you in the end. So there, I got them all done. I think they look really nice. I'll live with them for a couple of days. I may come in and add a couple of large red or silver Christmas balls in, just to give a little bit more color. But I think I'm happy with this for right now, and I think I could easily keep them like this and enjoy them for the season. These, generally for me, I'm in Saskatchewan, Canada, so it's very cold here. We'll be mostly below zero now until, close to into March sometime, late March. So most of the time we're at like you know, -15, -20. So these kind of just freeze in place here, and I don't really need to worry about them a whole lot. Like I said, usually right into the new year, some of the cedar, arborvitae, and pine will start to brown, and I'll just come along, pull it out if I can pull it out, snip it off if I need to do that. And generally it still looks good enough to just leave the rest of the display like that, and I don't have to do anything else with it. Come by once in a while, brush the snow off, and they're pretty good. These are in the shade for most of the day. They just get an hour or so of really direct sun about midday. So that might be part of what keeps them looking pretty fresh throughout most of the season. If you have them in more of a full sun area, they might dry out faster. I don't know. But for me, in this area, they tend to do really well. I try and get my greens as fresh as I can when I put them in. When I went to the garden center, they had just got their green load in, their load of branches in the day before. And I was just out yesterday and picked up and cut the branches from the farm. So everything is really, really fresh. Within the last couple of days it's been cut. So that's how I like to do it. And that's part of why I like to get my things from the garden center. I find their things fresher and just nicer looking than a lot of the big box stores and what they bring in. Maybe that's just my area, I don't know. And that's what's left. I think I have one branch of the arborvitae left. I used all of the fir, and then some of the pine and spruce, and I didn't use the echinacea, so those are still down there. And I have a little bit of pine cones in that, still in that one bucket down there. But I used a good portion of it. I'll probably work on a swag for the front door, but for now I just have a wreath with some dried fruit and ribbon on it, and I think that looks pretty good. So I think this looks a lot better than the mounds of snow on top of frozen gourds and squash. And this should hold us through now for a while. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.